Movie Club Strikes Back, it's me Jenny, and this is our third special guest pick from the fantastic one and only Trisha Hershberger of SourceFed, who is fantastic, and she chose the amazing, first time I've ever watched it, Gone with the Wind, the film, the movie classic, and if you can't tell, I've had quite a lot of Skittles this morning, so I'm slightly hyperactive, so I apologise for that. But my quick review for this is, if you haven't seen this film, watch it at least once. It is one of the greatest films in cinema history. It's a movie experience. It's not just a film, it's a genuine movie experience. Not just because it is long, but because of the complexity of the story, the depth that they've gone into these individual characters, into the world, into the setting, and just it's beautiful to look at. It's definitely, you have to watch this film once in your life. I will probably watch this again in a couple of years, but it's such a long film, you kind of need to build up the prep for it, but it is so good. You have to watch it at least once in your life. I would recommend, what I did is I watched until the intermission and then took a couple of hours break and then came back. Just simply because it is so long, it's very hard to stay focused on the story, even though it's so fantastic. During the break I kept on being like, I want to come back, I want to, I want to finish this story, I want to see what happens with these characters. And that is so good that it's engrossing and it makes you want to carry on watching even though it is incredibly long. If you're the sort of person like me who can do the Lord of the Rings marathons, or at least start the Lord of the Rings marathons, you can probably get through this film. But if you have a low attention span, I'd suggest breaking on the intermission or whenever they have a text segment, just to get your breath back and move back into the story. Going as a first time watcher, my first impressions of this film is just the visual beauty of this film. The costumes in this are fantastic and beautiful, especially Scarlett O'Hara's dresses. Each of them shows something about her character, where her character is at in the story. It follows where she's going, and the fact that she's wearing black relatively close to the middle and the different versions of her morning dress depending on what's going on in her life. The way she wears green, which represents her heritage, and the carpet dress and the dress that she wears when she's fleeing is the same dress she wears for the next few years. And it's so well handled. The fact that the dresses are gorgeous to look at in their own right, but also follow the character and tell you so much about where this character is in her life. When you get the red colours coming in, it definitely shows something about where her character's at. It's just beautifully done, just stunning. The sets are just gorgeous. The way that the grandeur of the wealthy times has a perfect juxtaposition with the poverty of the hard times. It's just so well done, the way they've aged the buildings appropriately, so you can see the same set but it's changed. And it's just so well done. It's so hard to tell you how beautiful these sets are. The cinematography in this is also just amazing. They're not afraid to do things like harsh silhouette shots on sunrises and sunsets. For most of the really, really important key character moments, it's usually a silhouette on a background. And those are the points you really have to pay attention, because it's saying something about the bigger universe. It's not just about the characters, it's about the bigger universe, and it's fantastic and it's gorgeous. Similarly, I just love the fact that things like whenever a character is in the presence of death, they do a lot of really harsh shadow work, so they've kind of got the shadow of death looming over them. It's just, I was blown away by how gorgeous this was. The crane shot, there's that one crane shot which is one of the most fantastic things I've ever seen. I was genuinely moved by that slow crane shot when it had Scarlett looking for the doctor, and it's just, it took my breath away, and it was just horrendous and amazing at the same time. I really love how complex this story is. The fact that it's a character piece, it's a historical piece, it's a romance piece, but the characters you're following, you can really buy into their chemistry, and you can really buy into the fact that they are in some ways built for each other. Rhett and Scarlett, how they're built for each other, they have similar passions, and yet they're not the most likeable characters. They are by far not your quintessential hero and heroine. They are conniving and intelligent and self-absorbed and materialistic, and yet you're following these characters and you want them to be together, you want Scarlett to realise what's going on in her life, and yet she doesn't. And some of the stuff that these characters do is genuinely appalling. Some of the stuff that happens around them is genuinely appalling. Just, these characters are complex, they're not necessarily likeable, but they are brilliant. Just the story and the way that this character builds, particularly Scarlett, you see her from age, I think it's 15 or 16, through to her mid to late 30s, and the tragedies that happen in her life and the strength she garners from them and the way she copes with these things is very complex. And what I love about the story is there isn't just one moral message in this. You think at one point the moral message is follow your heart, or you know, work hard and get your rewards, or karma will bite you in the ass, or anything like that. Like, there's so many different things that throughout the film you're like, oh, well, this must be the message for the film, and then it flips it. It's not about family, it's not about this, it's not about romance, it's not about, you know, giving into your passions, it's not about controlling your passions. You know, the people who are the most good are the ones that often suffer the most, while the people who do bad things are often the ones that suffer the most as well. It's so complicated and it's beautiful. I think the only message that I got, and you get it only right at the end, is being thankful for what you've got and learning to be mature by being thankful for what you have around you and understanding the privilege of what you get given. And that's kind of the real coming of age part of this for Scarlett. And it's just so well done. As someone who went into this film having not read the book and really not known anything about this other than, frankly, madam, I don't give a damn, I was just so blown away by the complexity of this film. My only gripe would be the sequence which involves marital consent. And that is a very complicated issue that I think would involve a lot more research and individual interpretation of that scene. It made me feel a little bit uncomfortable, but it's very difficult to tell what the intent of that scene was and what the intent of a lot of the sexual themes of this is. I think that would involve a lot more research on my part, and so I don't feel educated enough to comment on it. But there we go, it's a fantastic film, please watch it at least once. It's just gorgeous. I think the main, like another little tiny thing that I had difficulty with, the language in this, a lot of the dialects are very southern, and it kind of felt almost like a Shakespeare play in that it took me the first scene or two to be able to understand what the characters were saying. But once I got it, it was fine. I just wanted to throw that out there to show how foolish I am. Anyway, I've rambled on for way too long. Thank you so much for the pick, Trisha. This was a film experience. It was fantastic. I can't recommend it enough. The acting, Vivien Leigh and Clark Gable, just so good at capturing the characters, so good at capturing such complicated human characters. And yeah, I can't thank you enough. Feel free to comment down below and tell me how much I've rambled on into nothingness. And I will see you all very soon. Bye guys.